Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy with My Crafty Studio. Thank you so much for stopping by my little Stitchy spot here on the internet. It is October 2025. Hopefully I'll get this video uploaded today. If not today, probably tomorrow. But yeah, it's October 2025 and I'm here to kind of give you a recap of the retreat I went to, what I've worked on, and all of the things. So I hope everybody's doing great and enjoying the fall weather. And so yeah, I think I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my full finishes. As I said previously, I went to a stitching retreat. I'm going to pause here for just a second. You won't notice it, but I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had to get my board that I usually show things on, but I'm going to start off with my full finish. I actually had two of these. I've already done a fully finished object video, and it is a clock pincushion, and I stitched this on 20 count Ada with called for threads. The pattern is by Stitching with the Housewives, and I'll show the pattern here in just a moment. And I did two of those, so I actually have two finishes. But here's the pattern. It is the Good Old Days minis for the month of May, and I stitched this one right here. And that was part of the Smalls Exchange. And the pins that I included, I went over those in the video, but the counting pins that are right here were from Stitching Along. And I received a previous question on one of my full finished object videos with the cross stitcher pin cushion, the spool, and I use piping around the finish instead of the pom-pom or fringe or rickrack or whatever. I do like that, but I for those two finishes, for this finish and the cross stitcher, I used piping, and it's a good option because if you want a little bit cleaner finish, and then also too, it's easier to kind of match up. You know, if you make your own piping, you can match the material that you're using as part of your project. And then also this had the black piping in it. I thought it turned out great. And I also used it here on the back. So there is that. And I think what I'm gonna do is kind of go over like some of they had a bag exchange and a smalls exchange. So the bag that I gave away was this one by So Much to Love. And my tradition, I think I've said in previous videos, to when I go to retreats, when I make a small, I make one for myself and then one for the recipient. And then same with the bag exchange. So if I make the bag, this one I didn't make, it was by So Much to Love, I'll buy myself one and then also the recipient. And then also with that came, I added a needle binder. It was a cardinal. And it was, I'm taking mine out of the bag because I was saving it for the FlossTube. But this came from Stitching Along. She's on Etsy. She has just great products. She has counting pins, needle minders. But this is the needle minder. So it coordinated well with the bag, and I believe that the recipients really liked that bag. So very happy about that. And let me see. I have so much stuff here, I can't narrow it down to see where I'm going to go next. So the bag that I received, I'll just go with the exchange bag. This beautiful bag. And then I also got a thread bed that goes with it, and she also included a pattern by Autumn Lane Stitchery. It's so cute. So I got this pattern by Autumn Lane. And then this beautiful bag. And then the coordinating thread bed. So Marla, thank you so much. I don't think you watch my FlossTubes, but thank you. I really love this bag. It was really sweet. So there was that. And I can't tell you how excited I am to show you my smalls exchange. And I'm super, I just want to kind of talk up the stitcher. She's a young stitcher, and everything was, it had a theme to it, and I'm always somebody who just loves a good theme. But the piece that she gave me was Hello Spring. It's patterned by Hands On Design, and I couldn't be more happy with it. She stitched this on Ada, and it just turned out beautifully. She did tell me that her mom helped her finish it, so it just turned out just wonderful. And then she spoiled me, and she gave me a whole lot of other little extras. So I got this really cool bee towel. Came in my bag, and I love this mug. I'm a hot tea coffee drinker, so I got this. And then she also included a wonderful card. It was by Bee in My Bonnet, so it coordinated. It was the bees and flowers, which I love. I got a measuring tape. It was bee theme. Sorry, it's upside down. And a tin, magnetic tin for my needles. A cool coaster. I'm taking this to work. I just love this. And then a needle threader that's bee themed. So like I said, I loved it. I loved everything about it. So she did a beautiful job. I don't think she watches my FlossTube either, but yeah, she's a young stitcher and she did a great job. And also the cool thing about it is that it coordinates very well with my finish. So I just think it's so cool how it all turned out. But I'm gonna clean up here for just a second, and I will be right back. So again, Caitlin, thank you so much for my smalls exchange. It turned out beautifully. Thank you. So thank you again. And so the next thing that I'm gonna go over is some finished stitches. I actually had a couple. I'm gonna show you, I've been working on some Christmas ornaments. I think I said in a previous video, my goal for 2025 is to have 25 completed stitches and 25 full finishes. And I'm gonna be pulling from my drawer that I have I have finished stitches, but I haven't fully finished them. So I think I'll for sure make the 25 full finishes. I'm not sure about the 25 finished stitches, but I'm gonna try. So I still have a couple more months. But I wanted to show you the ornaments that I'm working on. It's from Stitching with the Housewives, and it does come with a free chart in one of the patterns. So the first one that I had done was Farm Fresh Christmas. And I'm stitching this one thread over one. It's on a 20 count brown paper by Extrude Designs. So that's my first fully stitched project. And then this is the freebie chart. I know that it didn't show in that original picture. That picture was actually from Priscilla's blog, and those patterns came out in December of 2024 if anybody is looking for those specifically. But this is Season's Greetings, and this is the free chart that came, and I can't remember which pattern, but when I get the other three done, I can be a little bit more specific. But I have those two finishes, and hopefully the other three will be finished by my next FlossTube. And my next finish, because it was Sampler September, one of my plans was Rachel de la Rue 1825. The sampler came from the Dying to Stitch Club. And I've decided, because I have so many large projects going, I've decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick out elements of this particular sampler and do them as smalls. So I did get one done. I did this flower with a pot up here, and it turned out beautiful. So there's that. And I am going to count it as a finish. So it's not fully finished, obviously, but I am counting it as a finish. I am going to pick out probably 4 or 5 more. I'm definitely doing the basket, and there's a few other flowers and things that I'm going to do. But I have some, I'm already currently working on some large pictures, samplers, projects, and I just prefer to do these as smalls because, I mean, it's a beautiful sampler, but again, I didn't want that to take up that much real estate on my walls. So there is that one. So those are my 3 completed stitches, and I'm going to take a moment here to reorganize, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna be showing you some of my progress that I've been working on, and some different pieces that I've been stitching on. It's going to be kind of intermingled with my personal stitching, and then also the stitching that I had done at the retreat. So it's not in any particular order other than just the way it's kind of stacked. But this piece that I've working on is a bead and buttons kit by Mill Hill. It's called A Stitch in Time. This is actually my work stitch. I'm trying not to get it to where it glares. I'm not doing a very good job with that, it looks like. And here's my progress. And this is a stitch that I typically keep at work. I keep it at my desk, and I just put in a thread or two on my breaks, and just, it's an easygoing stitch, and it kind of helps me kind of, you know, decompress from usually what's kind of going on at work. I did want to mention again these magnetic frames. I got this from P&B Making Memories on Etsy. And if I didn't have this frame, I don't think I would enjoy stitching on that 6.5 piece of paper personally. But this makes it much easier to stitch. So if you want to contemplate paper stitching, it's easy to see. It's 14 count, and it's easy to do, and it's just really handy to, I don't know, it's just really handy to have there, you know, at work, at least for me. My next one is, I spent some time with my girl Elizabeth Stevenson, 1854. This is the Queen of the May sampler by Hands On Design. It's for 2025. And I am doing a little bit of update for my preference here. And I'm doing mine in blues. And I've been really, just really enjoying this stitch. So this is actually the width of this. This is on 40 count. And again, I'm changing it over to blues and greens. So, but anyway, it seems to be going along pretty well for now. But yeah, I've been really enjoying that stitch. My next stitch, I did a little bit at the retreat, not enough to probably really show, but I did do a couple of stitches since the last time I showed this, and this was part of my celebration stitch by Rosewood Manor. I don't know if I'm going to have this done by July. My goal is to, I think it would be really cool. I started this in July 31st, August 1st, around there. I was at a retreat there in Nebraska, and I made a little bit more progress. Again, probably not enough to write home about, but I think I added this right here. And again, it was at the retreat, the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat. So I did want to show that progress. Usually when you're at a retreat, for me, everybody says that they talk. I shop. I shop. This next one I mentioned last time for my fall stitching plans is for these cats, the vintage cats by Teresa Kogut. And it's in Hello Halloween, that book. And I'm doing mine with purples. So I started this at the retreat. Just a moment. I did this at the retreat, and this is my progress. And I'm doing this on, I believe, a 36 count plum by Fiber on a Whim. It's really a pretty purple. I also made some progress on my modern folk embroidery, the Helsingland Blommer. And this is it. So what I finished stitching was the corner right up in here. So I finished adding that motif there in that corner, but it's turning out really pretty. So I do hope to have this one done before my next retreat, even though I think I mentioned in my last video that the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat, that was the last one. There is another person that is kind of taking that over, so there should be another Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat again in 2026, but I don't have any details on that as of yet. But there is going to be another retreat. Trying to think. Oh, my next stitch, I started Julia Rachel de la Mare, 1849. And I talked about this. This is one of my sampler starts. And started in the upper left corner, and there is my minimal start on her. And that's being done on 40 count as well. And then I mentioned in my last video that I wanted to start GH 1857. This is by Soledad, or not sure, but it's by that designer. And I've had this kitted up for quite some time. And here is my minimal start for her. It's very pretty. And I'm not sure why I'm sticking it over there. I could probably put it right there. I did also start GGR, Bridget Power. And again, I'm just doing the flower portion. And I am doing this on a 40 count crepe. I think it's by Seraphim. And then there's that top leaf there at the top. And I started in the middle. I just came down and I decided to start in the center, kind of change it up a little bit. Some other stitching I did at the retreat was on the Flowers of the Quaker by Rosewood Manor. And I just added some flower, or what looks like flower petals, to the corner motif. And I'm using a 28 count Everything Else by Mystic Fabrics, and I'm using the Valdani thread. I also did a few stitches in my Wild Rose Lane by Stitching with the Housewives. This I'm stitching on 20 count gray spindle, and this is also by Fiber on a Whim. So I added, I believe, another flower and a leaf. And I'm using just called for threads for that. And I did some more progress on my Summer Garden by Birds of a Feather. And this is the bottom. This is as tall as it's going to be. It's right there. So I worked on that at the retreat. I'm stitching mine on a 32 count. I think it's Cream and Sugar. So let them make sure. Yeah, Cream and Sugar. So it's a 32 count Cream and Sugar. And I also showed in my last video the Quaker House stocking, and I said that I was going to use the 40 count angel hair that came in that particular pattern. I thought it was a fat quarter, however it was not. I'm going to have to order some fabric for that. But the reason I'm bringing it up is I did go ahead and purchase the Quaker Christmas stocking. And so this is kind of what they look like together. I think it would look really cool. They're long and skinny. And I think now we're getting into the portion of the purchases. So let me put my stitches away and I will come back with all of the fun stuff. I am back again. I think that I'm going to go over just my regular purchases, and then I'm going to go over the stuff that I got from the retreat, and also my plans. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I did purchase the Britomart sampler. It's a Katie Strachan design. I'm not gonna do it reversible. And then I did get the lovely threads that go with it. I mean, they are just so pretty. Those are the threads that go with it. And it's just gonna be beautiful. I did also purchase a book that would kind of help me with some of the sample some of the specialty stitches as well. I ordered this from the attic. So I got that. And there was a piece of linen that I had purchased. When I was thinking about doing Elizabeth Stevenson, before I switched everything to kind of a blue palette, I did order some fabric. It was Just the Ticket by Tabby Cat Linen. So I did get that fabric as well. And a couple of the patterns that I purchased, because I previously said I'm really into the flower stitching. And so I got Rebecca Worrell Sampler 1847. And this is what it looks like. It's just the pattern only. I'm not taking it out of the plastic, so I apologize for the glare. And I purchased a couple of things from Kitten Stitcher. This was, I don't know if, I think this was on sale, but I love Hello from Liz Matthews, and it's a Buzz at Midnight. And then I saw this, it came out I think in 2024, and I'm not sure the story behind 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. I don't know if she retired and another shop has the rights, or I'm not really sure how that worked. I'll have to do some research on it. But this is Promise of Forever. This is the antique, and then this is the stitched piece. But I just like the simplicity. I like the flowers. I like that it was a Quaker. I thought it was really cool. And then I also got a second pattern, Along the Path Towards Simplicity. And it's a Quaker sampler from the Feller collection. And so this is what she charted. And then this is the picture of the antique. And that came from Kitten Stitcher. And then also I ordered, this was an exclusive, I think it's an exclusive chart for Kitten Stitcher. It's called Home is Where My Stitching Is. And I purchased this because I saw Handwork Maniac, she's stitching this, and I liked her color palette, and she's doing hers in green. So I think the fabric is like an agave fabric, and I'm not sure what thread she's using. I'll have to, I think I bookmarked it so I could go back and take a look, because I am gonna copy her color scheme. This is a pattern, the market, not the one in March, but the online one for shops to go to. This came out and I have not seen anybody show it, but I love this. It's by Carriage House Samplings, and it's called Barnesville. And it has all the barns. And so the cool thing is, it has like Wyoming, Nebraska, Texas. I've lived in all of those states. And then I'm going to change PA out. I'm going to make it a state that represents, you know, me, which would be Colorado. So I'll put a CO there. And then, but yeah, I just thought it was the coolest thing. So I've not seen anybody show that. If it may be out there, I'm not sure. But it's really cool. And she states here that she included the entire alphabet, which had been adapted from an antique sampler, which is, she included it for personalization. So I think that's really cool. But there we go. So there's that pattern. And then I'm trying to think where I got this, but this was Not Forgotten Farm, and it is called Strawberry Basket. And I just thought that was the cutest. So I purchased that. When I was purchasing some little extra bits and bobs for the couple of retreats that I was going to, I purchased a couple of more needle minders from Stitchingly Along, and this is says Positive Mind, Positive Vibes, Positive Life, and it's flowers in a mason jar. It's really cool. And then got another needle minder from Stitchingly Along, and it's a Farm Fresh with a cow. From Fresh Milk. So that is some new purchases. And I have been buying some fabric. Well, let me go over a couple other things that I purchased. So I finished Super Bloom Bouquet by Robin Pickens, and I really enjoyed her pattern. And I also really enjoyed stitching with Cosmo thread. So I purchased Beautiful Maker, which is a floral sewing machine. And then I have the Cosmo threads to go with it. I haven't picked out my fabric yet. So I purchased that. And I also purchased Stitch Lovely, which is another floral sewing machine. And then I got the Cosmo threads to go with that as well. And I purchased the Silk Sampler from Birds of a Feather. It's a re-release from Sherry, the Colorado Cross Stitcher. And that's what it looks like. Now the kit, I ordered the kit because she doesn't typically carry, it comes with the called for is Silken Colors by the Thread Gatherer. And she also stitched it on linen by Weeks Dye Works. It's the color linen. It's on a 36 count, I believe. Let me double check. Yep, 36 count. And so the colors that are called for that came in the kit, this is by the Thread Gatherer, Silken Colors Thread Gatherer. And I'm arranging it here. So that's what that'll look like. I love the blues. Now, because I like cardinals, I'm gonna change this bird out that's here in the corner to red. So I picked up a couple of Belsois silks. I picked up cranberry. I picked up cranberry and then also Sister Scarlet. But the color I think I'm leaning towards is the Sister Scarlet. So this is what I'll be stitching mine with. And then this is what the cardinal looked like. And I just thought it was, I don't know. I just didn't think, it's a beautiful thread, but I think the Sister Scarlet will go well with that bird. So that's a kit that I purchased from Colorado Cross Stitcher. And I purchased some fabrics from Hobby House. I think there was something I was purchasing from them pretty specifically, and I can't remember what it was. Sorry for the crinkle. So I'm gonna open up all of these and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I've been purchasing some different fabrics and things. I went through some of my patterns and I was able to take some to the retreat to give away because there were things either I've already stitched, they were either duplicate, or they just, I knew that I was never gonna stitch them. But when I was going through all of that, I was finding all my patterns again. And so I thought, you know, I need to get some linen to kind of, linen or stitching fabric to work on some of the charts that I already have. But I've never stitched on anything by Manny Donana, not her patterns or her linen. So I'm getting ready to show you a 32 count St. Patrick's Day linen. And actually, I'm sorry, my lighting is not very good even with my extra lights, but it's actually a beautiful fabric. So that is 32 count St. Patrick's Day by Manny Donana. I also ordered another one. It's called Beach. And that was a 32 count as well. And I really also enjoy Fox and Rabbit's linen. So I ordered eucalyptus. And I believe that this is a 36 count. Yeah, 36 count eucalyptus. It's kind of showing more blue, but it's actually a little bit more green. It's kind of just a really cool bluey green fabric. So I ordered that. I also ordered a 30 count Victorian sponge cake. It's by Legacy Linen. I'm not stitched on Legacy Linen, not that I remember anyway. This is a really good neutral. So there's that. And then I was looking online. This all came from Hobby House. And I have stitched on primitive hair fabrics before, which I like. But when I was online and I ordered this, it was a 30 count Irish Bog Sky. So when I looked at this particular, if you can kind of see like the steely blue grayish linen, that's kind of what I thought I was getting. But what I actually got was this. Now, is it a beautiful linen? Yes. Am I going to use it? Yes. Do I like it? Yes. But it just wasn't what I was expecting. So when I go over purchases from the retreat, I purchased a lot of fabric to go with it. But this is what I ended up with. Now, I do like it. I do have a stitch in mind for this, but I won't be starting it until next year. But it's way different than what I thought I was getting. So that's one of the things. I wish I had a little bit more of a local needlework shop, because you can kind of go and see the colors, match the colors with your threads and things like that. So, but anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny, and I thought I would share that with you because I thought I was getting that steely blue, moody gray fabric, and I did get a moody fabric, but definitely not the color that I was expecting. So, I think I'm going to go over my stitching stuff from the retreat, my purchases, and also some stuff from the freebie table. So let me put this other stuff that I showed you up, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. This next segment will be things that I picked up from the freebie table at the Crazy Woman Stitching Retreat. The first was the design from the 2023 retreat. It was from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. And I picked it up. I'm just going to be stitching the blue flower and making it a little pillow. But I love the flower, the birds, and the blue. I like the blue. Thought it was really cool. Another freebie I got was flurries in the fur. Oops, I can't show you the pattern. Sorry. It's really kind of tiny. It's right there. I'll make a cute Christmas ornament. And then I got some other freebie patterns that I can't show because they're actually free. One was by Erica Michaels. It was Have a Heart. And then by the blue flower, Let Joy Be Unconfined. I think these were free patterns that were, I think some of them, if not all of them, were still available from the COVID years, 2020-ish. So I got those. I also got Yonder by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I think I'm going to change this out a little bit, color wise. And again, I'm really into flowers, and so I picked up these Flowers in Verse by the Stony Creek collection. I gravitated towards this right here just because of the geraniums, and I just again love flowers, and it made me think of my grandmother. And then they also have some really pretty stitches back here. So but anyway, I was at the freebie table, so I picked that up. I'm really loving snowman, so I have the Quilt Snowman by Imaginating. It's very cute. And the last pattern is Jeanette Cruz. Well, actually, it's Jeanette Cruz Designs presents Alma Lynn. There's no business like snow business. And I just loved all of the snowmen. So this is actually produced by Jeanette Cruz Designs, and then the designer is actually Alma Lynn, or published by Jeanette Cruz Designs. So those were the freebies that I got. I think I got those. The next thing up will be some of the patterns. Now I purchased some patterns by designers that I've not stitched before, or they were new to me. designs. And the first one up, because I love cardinals, is Boomerang Stitches. Thought that was a beautiful pattern. And this is also a new to me designer, Stitches by Ethel, and it was the Holly Basket Pin Keep. I'm gonna make that up into an ornament, I think. That's where I'm leaning. Another new to me designer was Love Poppet, and it was a Blackbird at Dawn. Just thought that was a really cool pattern. And Cricklewood Crossing. I've not stitched. I've met her before. She was at the Crazy Women Stitching Retreat last year as well as this year. And this is the first time I bought some of her patterns. So this is the Stitching Misfits. I like that pattern. And then she also, I purchased from her Love Grows. And the saying is love grows when stitching is shared. So that was a really cool pattern. And then this also is a new to me designer, and she is out of Ohio, and her designs were Open Road Abode Needleworks. And so I liked it because it reminded me of Wyoming. So the cabin, and then of course the buffalo. And then this is, what is this? Oh, it says Give Me a Home. That's the name of the pattern, I'm sorry. Give Me a Home. And then the next one is Sepia Celebrate America #1. I just like the cabin with the flags, and then of course the kitty sitting right there. And then Roam Alone, which I like the buffalo. I currently live in Wyoming, so I just thought that was a cool pattern. And then this is Wintry and Woodsy, and I'm going to make this into a Christmas ornament, and I just thought that that was really cute as well. This pattern is by Silver Creek Samplers. This is the new one that came out at the last market that I need to find out the name of that again. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. But anyway, it's the Love Came Down Ornament Trio. So got that. And this also is a new to me designer. It's the Cosford Rye Stitchery, and it's Holy, Holy, Holy. It's just a scene from the Nativity. Sorry about the glare, but I didn't want to take it out of the plastic. And then another new to me designer was Jed Cross Stitch, and this is the Blueberry J. And I already had the malachite fabric that it calls for, but I think I'm going to change it out to a different fabric. But I'll have to pull the threads and see what they look like on that other fabric. But I did have the malachite already. And then also Cherry Magpie. And I showed you in the last video that I had purchased the beetroot that goes, or that it's called for on that particular pattern. This is a new pattern. It's a collaboration between Kathy Barrick and Hello from Liz Matthews. It's a mother-daughter collaboration, and I thought that was a really cool pattern. I love the cardinals, love Christmas, love houses. Erin Elizabeth. I think that this is the first pattern that I purchased from Erin Elizabeth. No, that's not right. I did purchase some last year, but I did get the Sewing Tomato, which I thought was really cool. And I also purchased, again, my flowers. I have the Autumn Alphabet Garden and then the Summer Alphabet Garden, and it's by Jeanette Douglas Designs. And she is coming out with the other 2 seasons. So this is Autumn. And I already have a finishing idea for these, so I'm anxious to get those started. And then this is Summer. And then I have purchased designs by Works by ABC. And I'm fascinated with color and all of those. So I did get the 324. I think it's really cool. And then I also got 324, the sequel. And that uses the same colors. So, but yeah, I do really like both of those. And let's see. I'm gonna pause here for just a second and I'm gonna reorganize again. Okay, I'm back. I purchased a couple of fun little things. I got some zipper pulls by Siggy's Closet. And I will be putting it on a coordinating bag that I already have. And if not, I will find one that will coordinate well with it. I love this one, the little jingle bells and the lights. I just thought it turned out really cute. So there's those three. I also purchased the woman the designer for the Cricklewood Crossing, her daughters were there and they had like a fun little table so you can make your own like scissor fob type of situation. But I purchased one that was already made. So I purchased one that has a tomato. Sorry for the reflection. And then I purchased a second one for the strawberry. And it's a scissor fob. I'm going to use mine as a zipper pull. The store that was there was the Cross Stitch Emporium. And she carries a few things from Rhode Island Deb. She makes pin cushions and kind of like needle minders. And so I purchased this needle minder. It's a blueberry. Sorry, I'm trying to get it. And it's magnetic on the top. So, I mean, you could stick your needle inside the blueberry or, you know, attach, just hold up your needle. And then I got the tomato one. It's a counting pin and or needle minder. I also purchased a couple of bags because this was on the farm. And I can't think of the woman who made this. Oh, here it is. It's handmade by Melissa Coons of Rustic Hen Stitchery. So she had some lovely bags. The Cross Stitch Emporium carries her bags, but I really like this farm one. Tractors, cows, chickens, all of it. I just thought it was really cool. And then I previously shown some bags. And it's actually by Boulder Valley Stitching. It was the one that had the button. And this is a new one that I got. She was actually there and she has, she's kind of starting out as well. So look for her. I don't know if she's on Etsy. I think she's on Etsy and I think she might be setting up her own site. Again, that's Boulder Valley Stitching. So that was a bag that I purchased for the books. And then I also got a Hemingway bag. The woman who stitched this her name is Becky Stevens. I'm not sure of her, I don't know if she has a shop or anything, but she's from Utah, I believe. No, she's from Wyoming. But anyway, it's a lovely Teresa Kogut bag. And I also purchased some finishing boards. That was really cute. Also very cute. And my next thing, I'm going to go through my fabric that I purchased. I purchased several things from Red Thicket. This is actually called a Winifred. This is a 20 count Aida. And the reason I purchased this, one, it's a great autumny, orangey, autumnal color. And the Big Awesome Produce pumpkin from hands-on design had come out. I just saw it. She had dropped it on Instagram, dropped a picture about the time that we were having the retreat. And I think it calls for a neutral. I'm not really sure, but I purchased this because I was thinking it would make a great choice for fabric for that particular design. I've never stitched on 40 count Verdal. It's an even weave. It's a 40 count even weave, and this is Cocoa. And this is also by Red Thicket. She also has a website, redthicket.com, and then also I believe Jenny from the Cross Stitch Emporium will be carrying her fabrics as well. This is the fabric that I'm considering for the Blue Jay. I'll have to get the threads and put them, you know, line them up. But also too, I think this is 40 count. I was doing them on 36 because I want both birds to be the same size. But this is called Blue Lagoon. But I thought it might be a good choice for that Blue Jay. And then this is As You Wish. This is 32 count As You Wish. All great choices for my fabric stash. This is Tranquil. This is a really pretty linen. This is also a 32 count Tranquil. This is by Red Thicket as well. Very pretty. And so these next linens, I've not stitched on Cedar River linen, and these particular linens were from the Cross Stitch Emporium. But this is Albarium, if I pronounced that correctly. Let me pull it out. Sorry. I'm gonna pause here for a second. I'll pull these out. I'm back. And again, this is Red Cedar linen. This is a 36 count Albarium. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. But again, I've never stitched on her fabric. This is a 20 count coffee stain. Oh, excuse me, 18 count coffee stain. Ada. This is also by Cedar River linen. Very cool neutral. Very beautiful neutral. And this is a 32 count Forget Me Not by Atomic Ranch. I believe this is also from Jenny at the Cross Stitch Emporium. Very pretty blue. Just a very pretty blue. And the last one is a 32 count Maple Bar by Cedar River linen. It's a beautiful neutral. It's a really pretty neutral. And I have a couple other pieces that I purchased, but those will be in my plans. So I'm going to go over my plans here in just a second. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This next segment is going to be my plans for October. I did pick up a pattern and the fabric and the threads at the Cross Stitch Retreat. Sorry, I get a little tongue-tied. And it is Merry Christmas Holly by Lucy Beam. That's what it looks like. And so the fabric I picked out was a 32 count Penelope. And this is by Red Thicket. And then I picked out some different threads than what was called for. It calls for a red, a green, and a gold. But these particular threads, these are the ones that I'm going to be using for mine. Need to remember to get my clips the next time, I think. But I think that will be a beautiful combination. So that will be one of my plans for October. hopefully I will get that fully stitched. Then I have a finishing piece already for this Merry Christmas by JBW Designs. This is a new release, and so I'm actually hoping to get this stitched and also fully finished. I don't know about by the next FlossTube, but hopefully maybe the one after that. But I did get that pattern, and so that's on my to-do list. The one sampler that I didn't get started was the Blessed Are the Merciful by Sampler Bird Stitchery, and I would like to get that started. When I went to the retreat, I was on the hunt for kind of a lavendery fabric, because when I was going through my patterns and things, I found embroidery scissors by Filigram, and it came with the silks and things. It has dinky dye silks and then also a hand dyed ribbon, but this is the pattern. And then I believe I had one of these in my stash and the other I purchased. I can't tell you which one, but both of them are from Red Thicket. This one is Thistle, right here, sorry, Thistle. And then this one is Wisteria. And I think I'm leaning toward the Thistle. It's a little bit darker, and I think the threads will show up beautifully on it. Both of them I think will be equally beautiful, but I'm leaning more towards the Thistle. So the pattern has a hand-dyed ribbon that goes through it, or that's weaved through it, but these are the silks. So there's this one. This is actually on Thistle. And unfortunately, the lighting in here washes out the wisteria. So this is what it looks like on the wisteria. But you can let me know what you think in the comments below. I don't know if it's a really good representation, but I think that I'm gonna go with the Thistle. I'm gonna show the Thistle again. But again, you can let me know. And then these are dinky dye silks, and then dinky dyed ribbon that has been hand dyed. But I believe that this is the color that I'm gonna go with. There's the Thistle on that. And both of those fabrics were from Red Thicket. The next pattern that I kitted up, this is by Counting Puddles, and it's Magical Snowflakes. And the fabric that I chose for this is a 36 count blueberry pie from Grace Notes Fabric. Also, Grace Notes is a new fabric to me, and I'm thinking about signing up for her club, because I really like this blue. But this is the blue fabric. I'm gonna pull the DMCs. I believe that I have all of them in my stash currently, but it calls for DMCs. And that's gonna be on a 36 count blueberry pie. On my last FlossTube, I showed the silk threads that I had purchased for the snowflake, llama, goat, and sheep. These three patterns. And I'm gonna put mine more on a blue fabric, and I'm gonna use the True Blue by Fox and Rabbit. So that's what that's gonna look like. I think it'll be really pretty. And those will be ornaments. Hopefully they'll be fully stitched. And then again, like I said, I was going through a lot of my patterns and things, and then I was pulling out things that I felt like I could get done or would definitely want to get started on. And these are the mini snowflake ornaments. And I am stitching this on Haven by Red Thicket. And I am using I'm just changing out the colors like I always do. I'm using just the B5200 for the white, and then I'm using Black Raspberry Jam by Sampler, Gentle Art, Sampler Threads. But that is what I'm going to be using for this design. So that's my plan for that. My next plan, I do have a start along I'm going to be doing with my friend Tara. We are going to be on a Zoom meeting here in a little over a week. And, well, actually less than a week. Yeah, less than a week. And so we're going to be starting another sampler. And I kind of wanted to go over some of these patterns here because they're just beautiful and lovely. So the pattern that we're going to start, and I think Heidi from Whips and Kits is working on this, but it's Anne Tong Ufendale. So we're going to start on this. And I have these patterns. I was always fascinated back, I don't know when it was a couple of years ago, probably through the COVID era. I watched Nicola from Hands Across the Sea. Yeah, Hands Across the Sea. And she was talking about Isabella Ufendale, which is this one. And then, of course, her sister Anne Tong. And at the time, she had previously had some special edition that had both samplers in there. And she had since released them separately. But she was talking about Ruth Bates. And she has the whole storyline. But Ruth Bates was actually part of that. She tells you the story a little bit better, but this actually, she states that the sampler actually found them when they had stitched or charted and stitched the Ufendale sisters. Whoever owned this reached out to them, but both, or actually all three girls were within the same household. I don't know the story. I should probably read it before I start talking about it, but needless to say, Nicola, when she showed these patterns, she talked about the connection between these three girls. So my plan actually is not to stitch the whole thing because, again, I have 97 other large pieces that I need to do. What I'm going to do, I think on this one for Anne Tong Ufendale, I'm going to just do the top part. I just think that is just so beautiful. I just love that. I just love it. Actually, I would like to do, I might, and I might, after I get the top part done, if I change my mind, I might go ahead and do the whole thing. But as of right now, I'm just going to be doing that top portion because, again, all three ladies, they're rather large. As far as this one, I haven't decided which one I'm going with. I think I'm going to go with the basket portion down here on Isabella. So I'm going to do this part down here. And again, it's subject to change when I actually start stitching it. And then for Ruth Bates, I'm kind of torn because I really like this this kind of area, I just like the stitches around this area, but I don't think I'm going to come up with anything. This is all 1/1, I believe, on the inside, but I think I'm going for this top portion up here again. So I'm not sure, and I might make a few little smalls, but I do love the border because definitely on the borders, these two girls have similar borders as far as their flowers and things, but anyway, that's, again, subject to change, but that's the plan for right now, or at least that's what I'm going to do, so that way I can have a little bit of each sampler hanging on my wall, because I have always been fascinated with these three samplers, so I'm glad that I have them. And for sure, I'm going to be starting Anne Tong with my friend Tara, and there she is again. And I had picked up the DMCs, but I couldn't decide on which linen I was going to go with. It's going to be a 40 count linen. It was between platinum, 40 count platinum, 40 count linen, the color linen by Weeks Dye Works. And then what I've decided to go with was the 40 count Desert Taipan by Fox and Rabbit. So these were, I'll show you the linen side by side, but then I'm going to show you the floss because I have it kind of arranged neatly on the fabric that I'm going to be using. And again, it's Desert Taipan. And hopefully these won't slip while I'm showing this, but these are the threads for Antong. And then I'll scoop these up. But these were what the linen choices were and kind of the differences, so you can kind of see the differences. I don't know if you can really see. I need to kind of figure out a different lighting situation. That's kind of a little bit better. But this up here is the Desert Taipan that I'm going to be using. This right here is the Platinum, and then the third one down here is the color Linen by Weeks Dye Works. Now I might use these colors on the other samplers, I'm not sure, or I might keep with the Desert Taipan, but to start everything, it's going to be Antong Ufendale on 40 count Desert Taipan with the called for DMC 1/2 fabric threads is the plan. So, and also too, by doing this top part, just doing this, I get a little bit of the cartouche here that she had here, a little, because I'm going to include that, but then I don't have to do any of the 1/1, so that's part of it too. But again, this I believe is 16 on 40 count, yeah, 16 inches wide. So it's pretty big. So anyway, but that is the plan. So I'm looking forward to this coming week. I have a stitching meetup via Zoom, and then I'm also meeting up in person with a stitching friend that I met actually at both retreats, both the one in Nebraska and then the one here in Wyoming. So I am looking forward to talking and meeting with everybody and talking all things stitchy. And I think that about covers everything that I'm gonna talk about this episode. Oh, my other, I guess my next plans. I'm in the process of fully finishing the beaded Santas. So the next episode, I'll be able to show the Mill Hill ornaments that I'm making for my tree this year. That way because they'll be part of my fully stitched and fully finished things for my totals. We'll see how I end up at the end of the year. And but yeah, so I think that's where I'm at. So I'll be working on Christmas stitching, a variety of other little stitches, and finishing up a few little bits and bobs, and starting a few things along the way. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I hope you all enjoy the fall weather, as I stated earlier, if I didn't cut that portion out. But yeah, so thank you so much for stopping by. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, there were a couple of questions. I kind of touched base on the piping part on one of my finishes, but there was another something that was mentioned, that why I do the full finished object videos. And the reason I do that is, one, it kind of keeps a record for me, and two, have you ever watched a FlossTuber? And some of these projects that we work on can take a little while. Some of them aren't finished right away. And so sometimes if you're watching an older episode of a FlossTuber, or they started something and they just finished it, and they'll say, oh, and the colors that I used were back in whatever, and they don't necessarily state the episode that it was on, and they have 837 episodes. That is kind of to help if there's anything that somebody wants, like a color combination or a product number or something like that. It might make it a little easier for them to find. So there's that, but also it kind of keeps a record, because if there's a color combination that I myself oh, I made this, let me go back and I can watch it. And it's also a quick video. The other thing that was mentioned was the ads. and that's starting to appear on my videos. I don't get paid by YouTube, and until I reach, I think it's at least 1,000 subscribers, I can't turn those ads off. So unfortunately, I have no control over the ads. One, the content of some of the ads, because some of it are things that I don't use or whatever, but also two, I don't get paid for that, and I can't turn that off until I reach, I believe, 1,000 subscribers. So I apologize for some of those ads. I mean, I think there's like 4 or 5 ads on some of my like half-hour to 40-minute videos, which again, I apologize for, but I can't turn that off until I reach a certain number of subscribers. So anyway, with that said, I hope that you please like, please subscribe, so I can get those ads turned off. And because I myself find that kind of annoying, but again, it's not something that I can control. And I hope everybody, again, like I said previously, has a great week and happy stitching, and I will see you the next time. Bye.